They chopped his bushes over 3 feet and fined him $150 for breaking rules. HOA madness strikes again. In the tightly regulated neighborhood of Cedar Ridge, Texas, where conformity was law, 47-year-old Tom Reynolds took pride in a small act of nature. A mechanic by trade, Tom lived with his 16-year-old daughter, Chloe, and had cultivated a row of holly bushes along his property line since moving in 2022. These bushes, initially planted for privacy from a bustling street and to attract local wildlife, had grown to about 3.5 feet by late October 2025, their lush green providing a natural screen and a nesting spot for cardinals. Tom invested $200 in quality soil and plants, spending weekends pruning and tending them, a labor of love that cost him time but brought joy. Chloe adored the birds, often sketching them, and neighbors frequently praised the bush's beauty, some even asking for cuttings. Tom measured them periodically, confident they were manageable, unaware of any stringent HOA height cap. However, the Cedar Ridge Homeowners Association viewed the bushes as a transgression. The HOA president, 60-year-old Lorraine Hayes, a retired florist with an unyielding grip on order, received a complaint from a neighbor who claimed the 3.5-foot bushes blocked the view and spoiled the neighborhood's uniform look. Lorraine delved into the bylaws, seizing on a regulation that stipulated all shrubs must not exceed 3 feet in height to ensure aesthetic consistency, with a $150 fine per violation. This rule was inconsistently applied. Other properties featured taller hedges or untrimmed trees, but Lorraine zeroed in on Tom's bushes, using a ruler to confirm the 0.5-foot overage. She saw it as a perfect opportunity to assert her authority, disregarding their ecological and personal value. In mid-October 2025, after a rainy spell accelerated growth, Lorraine sent Tom a letter citing the bylaw and demanding he trim the bushes to precisely 3 feet within 48 hours or face a $150 fine for shrub violation. The letter also warned of a $300 fine for a repeat offense if the height wasn't corrected. Tom was baffled. The bushes were a privacy shield and wildlife haven, not a hazard, and he'd maintained them diligently. He called Lorraine, explaining their purpose, the recent rain's impact, and offering to trim them that weekend. He even invited her to assess them in person. But Lorraine was immovable. "The limit is 3 feet, she snapped. "Cut them or pay." Tom complied that Saturday, reducing the bushes to 3 feet, but the fine persisted, fueling his frustration at the HOA's nitpicking. The conflict intensified. On a cool Wednesday morning, while Tom was at the auto shop and Chloe was at school, Lorraine arrived with an HOA crew equipped with shears and a chainsaw. They remeasured the bushes, noting the pre-trim 3.5-foot height from their records, and proceeded to slash them down to a jagged 2.5 feet, ignoring Tom's recent effort. The yard was strewn with branches and leaves, cardinal nests were shattered, and the once thriving screen was reduced to a stunted row. They left a second notice, a $150 fine for the shrub violation, plus a $100 maintenance fee for their intervention, signed by Lorraine Hayes. Tom returned home, his anger boiling as he surveyed the wreckage. The birds were gone, and the privacy was lost. "They didn't need to butcher it," he growled, picking up a broken nest. Chloe arrived home, her face crumpling as she saw the mangled bushes. "The cardinals are gone," she whispered, tears welling up as she held a fallen feather. Tom recorded the scene, capturing the chopped bushes, the fines, and Chloe's sorrow, and uploaded it to X with the caption, "HOA cut my 3.5-foot bushes and fined me $150 for 0.5 foot over. Insane. Bush ban." The video exploded, racking up 11 million views in 48 hours, with the hashtag trending nationwide. Public outrage surged, with comments labeling the HOA's actions vindictive and over the top. Local news outlets in Dallas picked up the story, interviewing a fuming Tom who said, "These bushes were our sanctuary. They punished me for half a foot." A horticulturist on the segment highlighted the bush's ecological role and condemned the excessive pruning. The community rallied behind Tom and Chloe. A neighbor, 34-year-old landscaper Miguel Soto, organized a protest outside the HOA office, where dozens of residents gathered with pruning shears and signs reading, "Bushes aren't crimes," and "Stop HOA overreach." Some planted holly sprigs on the office lawn as a defiant gesture. A GoFundMe campaign to help Tom cover the fines and replant raised $6,000 in a week, with donors leaving messages like, "This is petty tyranny," and "Justice for Tom." The story gained traction regionally, with WFAA and the Dallas Morning News running headlines like, "HOA fines man $150 for 3.5-foot bushes," and "Texas dad battles HOA over shrub height." Tom resolved to sue the HOA, determined to restore his bushes and challenge their overreach. He enlisted lawyer Susan Lee, who argued that the HOA's actions amounted to vandalism, financial hardship, and unjust enforcement, and that the height rule was selectively applied as other properties had taller vegetation. The lawsuit sought $10,000 in damages, the removal of the fines, and an injunction to permit bushes up to 4 feet. The courtroom filled with supporters holding holly branches in solidarity. Susan presented Tom's video as evidence, alongside photos of other yards with taller shrubs and a wildlife report on the displaced cardinals. Tom took the stand, his voice firm yet emotional. "Those bushes gave us privacy and joy. They destroyed them for half a foot." Lorraine, representing the HOA, remained unapologetic. She asserted that the height rule was designed to preserve aesthetics and that Tom's non-compliance warranted the cutting and fines. She presented the bylaw, arguing that the HOA had the authority to enforce its standards, even with aggressive measures. The judge, a staunch adherent to HOA contracts, ruled in favor of the HOA, declaring the bylaw legally binding, and Tom duly warned. The fines, totaling $250, were upheld, and Tom was ordered to pay the HOA's legal fees, an additional $4,000 burden. Tom left the courtroom, Chloe clutching his hand, the loss of their bushes a heavy blow. The ruling ignited fury online, with number bush ban trending anew, sparking calls for HOA reform. Homeowner advocacy groups and environmentalists decried the decision, arguing it punished natural growth and wildlife. In Cedar Ridge, Lorraine retained her presidency, issuing stricter rules capping shrub height at 2.5 feet and doubling fines to $300. Tom used the GoFundMe funds to replant smaller bushes, but the cardinals didn't return, and Chloe's sketches grew somber. Cedar Ridge, once a place of subtle natural charm, transformed into a battleground, with residents wary of the HOA's relentless scrutiny over every leaf. So, who's right? Tom and his bushes, or the HOA's strict rule? Share your thoughts below. Please share this video, subscribe to the channel for more HOA madness, and let's keep the fight alive. Thank you for your support.